Prawn plastics, an absolute fish magnet. I've come to wonder which ones are really the best and which ones outfish them all. In this video, I believe I have 3 of the best prawn plastics on the market right now. So not only do we have Bait Junkies, Nomad switcher shrimps, we've got the Holt Productions swim prawns. Here we go. We have an absolute battle today, and I'm so keen. Not only am I hopefully going to be able to show you which plastic and which brand is the best, I'm also going to take you guys along the journey and just teach you as much as I can, teach you everything I know, and just show you exactly what I'm doing at what stage of the tide, what gear. Yeah, we're gonna start with the Daiwa Bait Junkie prawn in that 2.35 inch. We've got a little bit more of the run-in to go. And the reason I've chosen this color, which is the Mudblood UV, is because we do have darker water. And the general rule is when you've got darker water, you want to try and match the hatch and use darker lures. I'm going to start cruising up this bank, hopefully use that tide to our advantage and just cast along all the edges and the drop-off points and really work the bottom, and hopefully we can come out with some really big species. I've got 10-pound leader on, and I've got this Daiwa Bait Junkie 2.35 inch on a 1/12 ounce size 2 hook. Generally in these systems, I like using 1/12 and 1/16. If the tide's lower and there's not as much movement in the current, I'll use that 1/16. But because the tide is up a little bit, we're gonna be working some deeper sections than we would if the tide was lower. And there's probably a little bit more movement in the tide too. So 1/12 should match that perfectly, but still being light enough that even those finicky fish, you know, that want that more natural presentation like your bream, your jacks and whatnot, they'll still eat it. We're gonna start in this little zone. Got 10-pound braid, 10-pound leader. We'll cast in there and just really work it off the bottom. What I'm looking for at the moment is pretty much signs of life, like bait skipping, and also pressure points like current moving, generally points, structure, like your pontoons, shade cover. All these things can definitely play a factor in where the fish will be more congregated and more concentrated, because if you just cast in the middle of absolutely nowhere, there's a good chance you get stuff all. Okay, I've come to this good bank where current's really pushing off the bank. I believe there's some good bait around. I've seen a few mullets jumping, seen little bait skipping, and we've caught good fish here in the past, so I'm gonna really try and work it, and hopefully we can land our first stonker. I'm gonna move up a little bit further. I might even cast in a little bit deeper and work that drop-off point a bit more, just in case there's some bigger fish. We'll give it a go. Slightly deeper. What the flip? That was weird. What was going on there? It was like he was getting chased or something. Come on. Surely. Oh, wow. Struth. It was getting chased. I know I've just hooked something decent here. Oh my. What have I just hooked? Oh, wow. Something was getting chased and I've just gone and hooked it. Just gonna back off slightly. That's awesome. Wow. Well, we've hooked our first decent fish, and this thing feels half decent. Literally out in the middle of the river. Burnt me plastic in. And I think we've hooked ourselves a nice trev. I've only got light gear, so I've got to take my time on this fella. Wow, that's pretty awesome. This is giving this rod an absolute workout. Yes, that's what we're after. Nice GT. Well, there we go. I'm very, very happy with that. We've just been traveling the bank and there's been a fair bit of bait, and I just saw something going on. Wow, what a solid fish. And have a go at that. That is a nice GT. Look at that, he's got that plastic down the hatch. Well, the Bait Junkie's up 3 fish so far. We haven't tried the others yet, but I'm definitely keen. I reckon soon we'll get a different brand on and see how it goes. I reckon he'd be mid to high 40s for sure. All right, we'll give old mate a release. See you, mate. There he goes. Okay, so the run out tide has started, which is good, and I think this is optimal. In the lake here is just after top of high. When it started running out, you've pretty much got full high tide in the lake, but you don't actually have that movement of the tide, and because we have fished the movement where the current's really pushing in and it hits this point hard, and you'd think it'd be good, but it's pretty hit and miss. So I'm hoping it'll turn them on. Now that everything has settled, that's when the fish and the jacks will all just like get into a bit of a feeding zone. that's the idea, and especially being a little bit murkier, I'm hoping they'll be pretty keen. Let's see if we can find a cheehoo. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. That's got to be a jack. Holy dooly, on the drop. Get up. Oh, he's in structure. Get him up, dude. Get him up now. Yes. Good jack. Oh, yes, baby. Right on the drop-off point. And he had me in all sorts. Struth. Holy dooly. I felt him in structure for a second there. That is a lovely jack. Have a go at that thing. He is red. Not huge, but I'm guessing probably close to that 40 mark. Look at that for a beauty. Not very big at all, but a very good start. 37.5 centimeter jack. I'll give you guys a look. Really working the deep because I knew there would be some good bait in there. Let it sink all the way down, and old mate has absolutely crushed it. Using that mudblood color to really replicate the color of the water, being a darker water, this thing replicates it nicely. And there we go. Nice little jack to start our morning off on that Bait Junkie prawn. This fella only went 37, but he went hard at first, and they always go for that huge run, and he actually had me in structure for a second, so there's something down there. A little bit nerve-wracking, but we got him, and that Bait Junkie is getting it done. I think that could be 6 fish for the Bait Junkie, and Jack being the highlight for sure, and got that nice trev, so we'll give him a release, and then I reckon we'll change plastics and give a different brand a go. Absolutely lovely fish. Look at him go. Gee whiz. He popped off, and yeah, definitely made sure to keep him in that net, you know, in between photos and measurements and whatnot, because obviously you want to keep them nice and healthy and give them a healthy release. Very cool feature Bait Junkie have added are these little slots in between the tail. They just give it so much movement, and because it is such a small little profile, especially if these fish are feeding on those little jelly prawns and little bait, it definitely matches that nicely. And being a 1/12, it's still light enough to give it that fairly realistic drop, and then those erratic hops up and then drop back down to the bottom so it rests. You have that tail flapping with the current, and it just, yeah, seems to go good. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're gonna now change to, I believe, something that could go toe to toe potentially with the Bait Junkie and even the Nomad, and that's the Holt Productions swim prawns. Now these lures have been renowned and known to be some of the best prawn lures for quite a few years now. These are in the 2-inch. This particular color is the swim prawn glass prawn. I definitely think that the Bait Junkie and the Nomad and those other brands, they do seem to just look a bit more realistic than the Holt prawns. What I think really helps make the Holt prawns stand out is their tail. They literally look like they've got these little legs that flap in the water and just like swim through the water, which none of the other prawns do, which is actually crazy and such a smart and cool design. They're not the TPE material, which means they're not going to last as long as your Bait Junkies or other plastics. But I think the reason they've used these plastics is because it helps give the lure potentially better action, I believe. And you can see I've matched it perfectly on that 1/12. Very keen to give it a go. The only other thing I'm going to do is just chuck a bit of scent on. Okay, let's give this fella a try. I'm just going to try land-based to start with and fish these deeper sections again, near where we caught the other jack. And again, I'm working it the exact same as I would any of the other prawn lures. Those erratic hops, slow winds as I do those erratic tilts, and letting it sink all the way back down so I can always hop it off the bottom. Okay, so I tried the Holt prawn for a little bit there. Just really not much luck around the lake, which is interesting. So very keen to probably try out the Nomad now and just see what sort of differences we find with it. Here we go, we're actually going to try the Nomad Live Ops Switcher Shrimp in that 2.3-inch range. Now I'm pretty sure this is the Ultra UV color, and I've had really nice success with this in the past. I've downgraded my jig head size to a 1/16. Slower sink, a little bit more natural presentation, and a slightly smaller hook. Bait Junkie so far has been a success. We've caught 6 fish on it, and currently no fish on the Holt prawns. Had a few taps, but it just wasn't really seeming to get it done. So here we go. This is the Ultra UV. There we go, that's what it looks like. We'll give it a go. Let's see what we can do here. We'll chuck around this Nomad. The cool thing about the Nomad is it's pre-scented, which is very nice. It just means you don't have to worry about, you know, constantly scenting it up, especially at the start. Trevance. Little GT. There we go. See you, buddy. Truth. Holy dooly, that's a big bream. That's a stonker of a bream. That's a proper bream. We've just come to this corner. Wind's absolutely pushing into this corner. Oh my goodness, dude. I've got to get a measure of that, don't I? That's a couple for the Nomad. It's been a bit of a grind. Holy dooly. He is a big bream. Look at the head on him. Far out. There we go. 36 centimeter bream. Very solid. That is such a big bream. 36 and a half. We'll give this fella a release. It's almost my PB. My PB's 37. There we go. There we go. It's got to be a Trev, doesn't it? It is too. And there we go. We've got our third fish on the Nomad. Look at that. Very colourful little fella. Love those yellow fins. The Nomad switcher shrimp. It's actually working. Fit. Fit. Oh, flip. Flip. Gotta work. Flip. Struth me. Oh wow, that was a close one. Look at it pump. Look at that. Oh wow, that could have been shambles. I'm very keen to fish this outgoing section because all of the bait and everything's gonna get pushed out. And these are some of the best conditions I've found for in here. So I've actually tried all three plastics so far, and I'm gonna cycle my way back through to the Bait Junkie again because I'm really keen to see if the Bait Junkie actually makes a big difference or not in terms of getting these hookups. Okay, so we've got that Bait Junkie back tied on. I have downgraded the jig head size. Well, it's the same as what I was using for the Nomad, which is that 1/16 size 4 hook. So a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. Something just got pushed. Heap of bait in the shallows up here. Perfect cast. Come on. Could be a flathead. Oh, we've got him. I just hooked a nice flathead. Oh, yes. Better flathead. Much better flathead. He hasn't done much. I thought that would have been a flathead chasing the bait, and it was. And old mate has not done much at all. Wouldn't mind netting this fella because he's definitely a nicer fish, for sure. And there we go. He's a much nicer fish. Flathead wise, that is. And I knew there would be some flatheads along this section. Oh, there we go. For an estuary flathead, that is actually a very nice fish. I haven't actually caught them very big in here, and that's probably the biggest one that I've caught in here. Very nice on the Bait Junkie prawn, and it's absolutely getting it done. See you, buddy. Absolutely lovely. It's hard to have them just proper situated. Come on. Oh, yep. Yep. Got him. Yes, finally. We found a Trev after chasing all the bust ups. And it's on the Holt prawn too. I knew it could get it done. I just knew it. Nice, that's a nice little Trev. He's not huge by any stretch of the imagination, but there's definitely some good ones around. Yeah, nice little GT. Oh, he's got that down the hatch. Poled him in the boat. Yew! There are some big bust ups at the moment, guys. And look at that. That is a splendid little GT on the Holt prawn. Because of its action in this tail and those leg movements, it really draws big attention and it can really attract those bigger fish. So there we go. The Holt prawn's on the board. Definitely took its time, but this is where it could really thrive. It's number 2. It's good. Flathead. That's number 3 for the Holty. That was literally first cast at the poles. Okay, well that's the end of that session. It was a solid day of grinding. Very interesting to try all 3 different brands of prawn plastics. Yeah, starting off with the Bait Junkie, it really did crush it at the start, and then changing over to those other plastic definitely seemed to go a little bit harder. We ended up getting 3 on the Nomad. Well, one of them was a stonker bream. It was almost 37 centimeters. We got 3 on the Holt Productions swim prawns. Yeah, the Bait Junkie, I think we got like 10 fish on it, and Jack, Big Trev, quite a lot of numbers too. The results are just speaking for themselves at this point. I think you've got to give the win to Bait Junkie. Any 3 of those options and you're really not going to go wrong in my opinion. I still think they're 3 of the best prawn lures on the market, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was definitely pretty awesome to be able to fish with all 3 and just give them a red hot nuzzle, especially in these conditions where there's a fair bit of fresh in the system, which, you know, just made it a little bit murkier and a little bit trickier to fish for sure. Comment down below what other videos you want to see. If you can like this video, it definitely helps it out, and I'm pretty sure it gives you the option to hype it after you like it. So that would be awesome if you do that. And also, if you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe so that you don't miss any videos and you can be notified as soon as new videos pop up. We'll see you guys in the next one. Ew.